China-India relations, also called Sino-Indian relations or Indo-China relations, refers to the bilateral relationship between the People's Republic of China and the Republic of India. Historically, India and China have had relations for more than 2,000 years, but the modern relationship began in 1950 when India was among the first countries to end formal ties with the Republic of China and recognize the PRC as the legitimate government of mainland China. China and India are the two most populous countries and fastest-growing major economies in the world. Growth in diplomatic and economic influence has increased the significance of the bilateral relationship. Cultural and economic relations between China and India date back to ancient times. The Silk Road not only served as a major trade route between India and China, but is also credited for facilitating the spread of Buddhism from India to East Asia. During the 19th century, China's growing opium trade with the British Raj triggered the First and Second Opium Wars. During World War II, India and China played a crucial role in halting the progress of Imperial Japan. Relations between contemporary China and India have been characterized by border disputes, resulting in three military conflicts: the Sino-Indian War of 1962, the Chola Incident in 1967, and the 1987 Sino-Indian Skirmish. However, since the late 1980s, both countries have successfully rebuilt diplomatic and economic ties. In 2008, China became India's largest trading partner, and the two countries have also extended the strategic and military relations. Despite growing economic and strategic ties, there are several hurdles for India and the PRC to overcome. India faces trade imbalance heavily in favor of China. The two countries failed to resolve the border dispute, and Indian media outlets have repeatedly reported Chinese military incursions into Indian territory. Both countries have steadily established military infrastructure along border areas. Additionally, India remains wary about China's strong strategic bilateral relations with Pakistan, while China has expressed concerns about Indian military and economic activities in the disputed South China Sea. In June 2012, China stated its position that Sino-Indian ties could be the most important bilateral partnership of the century. The month when Jiabao, the Premier of China, and Manmohan Singh, the Prime Minister of India, set a goal to increase bilateral trade between the two countries to $100 billion by 2015. In November 2012, the bilateral trade was estimated to be $73.9 billion. According to a 2014 BBC World Service poll, 33% of Indians viewed China positively, with 35% expressing a negative view, whereas 27% of Chinese people view India positively, with 35% expressing a negative view. A 2014 survey conducted by the Pew Research Center showed 72% of Indians were concerned that territorial disputes between China and neighboring countries could lead to a military conflict. Geographical Overview. China and India are separated by the Himalayas. China and India today share a border with Nepal and Bhutan, acting as buffer states. Parts of the disputed Kashmir region claimed by India are claimed and administered by either Pakistan or by the PRC. The government of Pakistan on its maps shows the Aksai Chin area as mostly within China and labels the boundary frontier undefined, while India holds that Aksai Chin is illegally occupied by the PRC. China and India also dispute most of Arunachal Pradesh. However, both countries have agreed to respect the line of actual control. Country comparison. Early history. Antiquity. The first records of contact between China and India were written during the 2nd century BCE. Buddhism was transmitted from India to China in the 1st century CE. Trade relations via the Silk Road acted as economic contact between the two regions. China and India have also had some contact before the transmission of Buddhism. References to a people called the Chinas are found in ancient Indian literature. The Indian epic Mahabharata contains references to China, which may have been referring to the Qin state which later became the Qin dynasty. Chanakya, the prime minister of the Maurya Empire, refers to Chinese silk as Sinamsuka and Sinapata in his Arthashastra. In the records of the Gurkha historian Zhang Qian and Sima Qian make references to Shendus, which may have been referring to the Indus Valley, originally known as Sindhus in Sanskrit. When Yunnan was annexed by the Han dynasty in the 1st century, Chinese authorities reported an Indian Shendus community living there. Middle Ages. From the 1st century onwards, many Indian scholars and monks traveled to China, such as Batuo, first abbot of the Shaolin monastery, and Bodhidharma, founder of Chan Zen Buddhism, while many Chinese scholars and monks also traveled to India, such as Shanzang and I Ching, both of whom were students at Nalanda University in Bihar. Shanzang wrote the great Tang records on the western regions, an account of his journey to India, which later inspired Wu Cheng'an's Ming Dynasty novel Journey to the West, one of the 4 great classical novels of Chinese literature. Tamil dynasties. The Cholas maintained good relationship with the Chinese. Arrays of ancient Chinese coins have been found in the Cholas' homeland. Under Rajaraja Chola and his son Rajendra Chola, the Cholas had strong trading links with Chinese Song dynasty. The Chola navy conquered the Srivijaya Empire of Indonesia and Malaysia and secured a sea trading route to China. Many sources describe Bodhidharma, the founder of the Zen school of Buddhism in China, as a prince of the Pallava dynasty. Tang and Harsha dynasties. During the 7th century, Tang dynasty China gained control over large portions of the Silk Road and Central Asia. Guangzhouins had sent a diplomatic mission to northern India, which was embroiled by civil war just following the death of Emperor Harsha. After the murder of 30 members of this mission by the usurper claimants, Zhuang fled, and returned with allied Nepali and Tibetan troops to back the opposition. With his forces, Zhuang captured the capital, while his deputy Jiang Shiren captured the usurper and sent him back to Emperor Taizong in Chang'an as a prisoner. During the 8th century, the astronomical table of signs by the Indian astronomer and mathematician Aryabhata were translated into the Chinese astronomical and mathematical book of the Treatise on Astrology of the Kai Yuan era, compiled in 718 CE during the Tang dynasty. The Kai Yuan Anjing was compiled by Gautama Siddhartha, an astronomer and astrologer born in Chang'an, and whose family was originally from India. He was also notable for his translation of the Navagraha calendar into Chinese. Yuan dynasty. A rich merchant from the Malabar Sultanate, Abu Ali, was associated closely with the Malabar royal family. After a fallout with the Malabar family, he moved to Yuan dynasty China and received a Korean woman as his wife and a job from the emperor. The woman was formerly Sanga's wife and her father was Chai Ingyu during the reign of Chung Yeol of Goryeo. Recorded in the Dongak Tongam, Goryoza and Lu Mengyan's Zhong'anji, Sanga was a Tibetan, Tamil Hindu Indian merchants traded in Guangzhou during the Yuan dynasty. Hindu statues were found in Quanzhou dating to this period. Ming Dynasty between 1405 and 1433. Ming Dynasty China sponsored a series of 7 naval expeditions led by Admiral Zhang He. Zhang He visited numerous Indian kingdoms and ports, including India, Bengal, and Ceylon, Persian Gulf, Arabia, and later expeditions ventured down as far as Malindi in what is now Kenya. Throughout his travels, Zhang He liberally dispensed Chinese gifts of silk, porcelain, and other goods. In return, he received rich and unusual presents, including African zebras and giraffes. Zhang He and his company paid respect to local deities and customs, and in Ceylon they erected a monument honoring Buddha, Allah, and Vishnu. Sino-Sikh War. In the 18th to 19th centuries, the Sikh Confederacy expanded into neighboring lands. It had annexed Ladakh into the state of Jammu in 1834. In 1841, they invaded Tibet and overran parts of western Tibet. Chinese forces defeated the Sikh army in December 1841, forcing the Sikh army to withdraw, and in turn entered Ladakh and besieged Leh, where they were in turn defeated by the Sikh army. At this point, neither side wished to continue the conflict. The Sikhs claimed victory, as the Sikhs were embroiled in tensions with the British that would lead up to the First Anglo-Sikh War, while the Chinese was in the midst of the First Opium War. The two parties signed a treaty in September 1842, which stipulated no transgressions or interference in the other country's frontiers. British India. The British East India Company used opium grown in India as export to China. Britain used their Indian sepoys and the British Indian Army in the Opium Wars and Boxer Rebellion against China. The British used Indian soldiers to guard the foreign concessions in areas like Shanghai. The Chinese slur Yin Dui San was used to describe Indian soldiers in British service.